On the case of Ñnamdi Kanu, the difference between a wish and a production by Ugwuayin. Welcome to the news. Please endeavor to listen to the end. Yesterday, I made yet another prediction in the case of Ñnamdi Kanu. From the reactions of some people, I could tell that they did not understand the meaning of the word prediction. They assumed that it means the same as a wish. In other words, if I predict an outcome, they assume I wish for that outcome. It is, therefore, important to explain the difference between a wish and a prediction. A wish is what you prefer. To wish for something to happen is to want that thing to happen. However, to predict that something will happen is to make your best intelligent guess or assessment about the likely outcome of an unfolding event. A wish is based on desire, but a prediction is based on calculation of factors that are all beyond one's control. Wishes are not based on logical calculations. Indeed, wishes are often taken as desires that are not based on logical calculation, as something that is not logical or likely. That is why we say that if wishes were horses, beggars will ride. This is another way of saying that wishes are not based on reality. Predictions are the opposite of wishes. Predictions are logical and calculated guesstimates of outcomes. While we wish for the beautiful impossible, we sometimes predict an outcome that we hate. For instance, if I knew I had cancer, I could predict that I would die from it. It doesn't mean I wish to die. In fact, I wish to live, but I have to predict that I would die. So when I predicted that Ñnamdi Kanu would be tried and found guilty and sentenced to death or life imprisonment, I was not wishing that to be the fate of Ñnamdi Kanu. As a human being, I do not wish that anybody would be convicted of a crime. I do not wish that Ñnamdi Kanu should suffer the fate of conviction and sentencing for such grave offences as he has been charged with. However, as an intelligent person, well versed in the law, I can assess any legal situation and predict the likely outcome. From the history of criminal trials, including the trial of Jesus Christ, it is clear that a person who is disliked by the government or the power that will be likely be convicted, even if he is otherwise innocent. What will lead to the outcome of the current trial of Ñnamdi Kanu will be determined by factors outside the question of whether he actually did bad things or not. It will be determined by how the Nigerian government feels about him. That is always what happens. If the government is so determined to find you guilty, it will find you guilty. If you don't know that, then you are a beginner. How did I come to the prediction that Ñnamdi Kanu would not be granted bail or that it would not be released soon? I have been following the case of Ñnamdi Kanu very meticulously from day one. If you remembered, on December 31, 2015, President Buhari had a met the press in media event, during which he granted press interview. At some point in that interview, the journalist asked the president about some people facing criminal trials in Nigeria. The president said that there were 3 people in detention that should never be granted bail. He named Colonel Dasuki, former National Security Advisor to President Jonathan, as one of the 3. He also named El Zagzaki, and he named Ñnamdi Kanu. I was one of those who went publicly to criticize the president for usurping the powers of the courts to determine who should be granted bail and who should not. My reaction to President Buhari's unusual conduct in that interview was the origin of Loretta Onoshi's hatred of me. It was also the reason I was detained overnight at the airport by the DSS when I entered Nigeria on January 16, 2016. At the time of 2015, when President Buhari thought that Ñnamdi Kanu should not be granted bail, Ñnamdi Kanu and his IPOB were relatively of no serious threat to the Nigerian government. Then, IPOB had not been proscribed. Then, there was no ESN, and so on. So, you can safely assume that the president's feelings toward Ñnamdi Kanu in 2021 must have gotten harder and more hostile than his feelings toward him in 2015, when he thought that Ñnamdi Kanu should not be granted bail. Look at the fate of the other two people the president said should not be granted bail. Dasuki was held in DSS detention for 4 years, even after the court granted him bail. El-Zakzaky is still in DSS detention, even after the court discharged him. That is what happens to people that the president felt do not deserve bail. Now that Ñnamdi Kanu is in the custody of Nigerian government, do you believe that the government will treat him more favorable than it treated Dasuki and El-Zakzaky, whom together with Ñnamdi Kanu were once declared unbailable? Anyway, my predictions are based on logic, on facts, on analysis, not on my personal desires. I had to say that it takes an uneducated mind to think that a prediction is the same as a wish. I can read the handwriting on the wall. Nigeria government will not release Ñnamdi Kanu on bail unless there is a political deal that favors the government. For the government of Nigeria, Ñnamdi Kanu and IPOB pose the gravest existential threat. Whether Ñnamdi Kanu and IPOB were strategic in the manner they went after their objective is a matter for another day. But you know what I think? All that is, what is happening today was well foreseeable and was predictable. I did warn that it could happen. Never start a fight unless you are well prepared for it. Otherwise, you are guaranteed to lose the fight and destroy yourself. This question, now that Ñnamdi Kanu is in the custody of Nigeria government, do you believe that this government will treat him more favorable than it treated Dasuki and El-Zakzaky, whom together with Ñnamdi Kanu were once declared unbailable? Please do comment in the comment section, and thank you for listening to this news. Do enjoy the rest of your day.